Hi, I'm Michael Judd. Today we're going to tour our straw bale home. Welcome to Long Creek Permaculture site. We are located in Frederick, Maryland, foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Over the last 25 years, I've been practicing permaculture, which is a holistic design, which includes working with your foodscapes, your natural building, your forestry, putting all of these designs together to act as a collective. A good example of this is the food forest model. So the food forest is not growing food in the forest, it's growing food like the forest. So we observe healthy forest systems and how they work together. When we design our landscapes, we bring plants together as companions, we design passive water harvesting, and we allow the systems to thrive with very little input and an abundance of harvests. So one of the cool things about our food forest is the implementation of swales on contour, which help passively harvest water into the landscape so that we don't have to water at all. So in the same way that we designed our food forest to be in harmony with nature, we also wanted to create a home that functions largely for itself and is in balance with its environment and is just a joy to live in. The actual design for our home was inspired by a council house, a roundwood straw bale council house at Earth Haven permaculture community outside of Asheville, North Carolina, that I helped work on more than 2 decades ago. We chose to go with straw bales based on their wonderful insulative value, their ease to put up, in comparison to other natural buildings such as cob, which can be quite labor intensive and doesn't have the same insulative value. So we started our home building by digging out a rubble trench foundation. Rubble trench foundation is basically packed gravel. So there's no cement, no rebar in the ground, nothing to fail. It can be here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Basically, it acts like a French drain. It allows any water moving above and below ground to be pulled away from the house. From there up, we started building. After we created the rubble trench foundation, we harvested wood from our property to create a roundwood timber frame structure. Once we had the roundwood timber frame up, we used local straw bales, over 500 of them, to infill and create the walls. Then we earthen plastered them on the inside and did traditional lime plaster on the outside. One of the last things we did to finish the house was put on the living roof. Gorgeous mosaic of sedums, very drought tolerant, hardy plants, because rooftops are typically very dry and hot zones. So you want plants with shallow roots that are very drought tolerant. We use just soil and compost to put on our roof, and that's one of the reasons we have such a bright, brilliant living roof system today. Keeps us cool too. As we make our way inside, the first space is our main living area. One of the first things you notice when you come inside is the beauty of the roundwood timber framing. The complete trees, all from our land. 90% of the wood in the house is storm fallen. We even did all the sawmilling for the roof decking here on site. The wood for trim, for our furniture, all came from the woods around us. The inspiration for building in the round for me came from living in rural Latin America for 20 years. Down in rural Latin America, I built many round structures out of natural materials and was able to experience the way they felt, how I felt living in them. And so when I came back here to build our home, the round is what I wanted to live in because of the way it makes me feel, the way it helps the mind move, not get stuck. It kind of creates an energy of flow, and almost like you're being wrapped and hugged in the space as well. Also, the house is designed for passive ventilation, so in the summertime, we don't need supplemental air conditioning. We have 2 different stories of upper windows. We have a cupola that we open so that cool air that comes in low rises and pushes hot air out, and there's this natural convection that happens. The thick walls and the living roof all contribute to maintaining a very comfortable space in the summertime without adding anything. So a straw bale wall with natural plasters allows the walls to breathe. With straw bale, it's very important that moisture can migrate in and out. So literally the house breathes, and you can feel that when you're inside one of these structures. Another cool feature of this room is what we call the truth window. There's some misconception that straw bale houses have a limited lifetime. Maybe this comes from the 3 Pigs story. But the first straw bale houses were built in the 1880s, are still being lived in. If a home has a good foundation and a good roof, what we call good boots and hat, in a natural building, then the bales are potentially going to last for hundreds of years. That's what we're counting on here. We have large bay windows facing east, which allows the morning sun to come in the wintertime and heat our earthen floor. This kind of passive solar collection is a real gift. And then to the west, behind our house, when the sun is going down in the hottest part of the day, we're shaded. So the positioning of the house helps create a balance for the inside temperature. So we heat our home with this masonry stove. This is a finished design similar to a soapstone, where the thermal mass slowly radiates heat out into the home. This chamber only needs to be filled once every 24 hours in the coldest part of the year, so very little wood is needed. As that heat radiates out, it gets banked into the earthen floor and the earthen plasters, and it creates a heat battery. Throughout the house, we have earthen floors. These floors are a mix of clay, sand, and straw. In the main room, we used a natural pigment to create this beautiful yellow ochre color. They just feel good to be on. They're not hard on the body, and it just creates a nice connectivity by living on Earth. The kitchen is part of our open communal living space. It's part of the flow of hanging out and spending time together. Having friends over is very easy. We can all be together. We use very energy efficient appliances, a lot of European design, induction stove, smaller refrigerators. The water in the house is heated by a on-demand water heater, which does remarkably well. We are connected to the grid. Our understanding is more about the energy usage than the source of the energy. So we use very little energy here, and to go through the cost and the footprint of doing a bunch of solar panels seemed like more of an environmental impact than connecting to the grid and using very little energy. Above the kitchen sits our loft, which is all made out of black cherry wood. Again, storm fallen from our land. One of the cool features of this is these bars are the iron bars from old apple cider vats that we cleaned up and bent and put in to meet code and spacing. Our library is up there. It's also just an escape place for the kids, or for us from the kids. And the way up is on this really cool, funky but functional staircase that is a split staircase. And it's done like this to meet code, yet shorten the run. So it's not just something funky, it actually creates a really important function that also meets the permitting needs. Come have a look at the outer wing of our house where our bedrooms and bath are. So we're a small family of 4. We have 2 bedrooms in the house. The overall size of the house is 1,100 square feet for the footprint. With the loft, it's 1,350. It's a perfect size and flow. One of our favorite spaces in our home is the bathroom. We put a lot of extra time and love into creating a rejuvenating, healing space with our bathroom, especially with our tub. This is sort of a sunken design mosaic and open shower head. It just feels good when you come out of here. You feel nurtured. Also in here you can see these beautiful depths that you get by having straw bale walls. Creates a lot of beautiful spaces or benches, perfectly situated there by the tub. The vanity here, this is live edge cherry, more black cherry from our land. Also all of this custom made by friends, and again cherry from our land and from Ashley's farm where she grew up. Had some beautiful black cherry that we used. Part of the full circle life we live is using a compost toilet. Being able to recycle and reuse this amazing resource that we all have is a really key part of balancing the landscape and our home. So in here we have a very simple unit. It's an above ground unit since we're on slab here, on rubble trench actually. This unit's often used in cabins. It's a nice small unit, probably about a 10-gallon barrel in there with a drawer below. So as we use it, we use sawdust. So here's our sawdust. Ta-da! That mixes the nitrogen and the carbon to create compost. We have a perfect balance with the sawdust for compost. This is our kids' room. All kinds of fun, wild things in here. Wyatt Wizard is our son. He's 8 right now, and we have Jaya Soul, who's just about to turn 3. And this is the world they've grown up in. This is what they know. Wyatt was born during the making of the house. So piles of soil, piles of sand, straw, this, making mud and plastering was what's normal to him, what he grew up with. So it's in some ways, the house and him are, connected forever. Now, after living in the home for many years, it has really proven itself to be an amazing space to live. Apart from it being very little to maintain, it just has such a welcoming and warm feeling about it. It's got a lot of joy in it. A lot of heart went into building it. A lot of helping hands, and all their energy is in this home. The earth, the straw, the stone, the wood, we're living with these energies and we feel it. I can't say enough about straw bale building. I highly recommend it. If you want to learn more about our home and our permaculture site and more of what we do, I've got 2 books that go into details on those: Edible Landscaping with a Permaculture Twist and For the Love of Paw Paws. We also have a Paw Paw Festival in September. That's a lot of fun and opportunity to come and see the house, the food forest, the mushrooms, all the things we do. We have a nursery, so we do nursery days in the spring. We do a lot of fun stuff here, and it's all accessible through our website, ecologiadesign.com. So come visit us, come learn, come explore, and come celebrate. with us here at Long Creek.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching. If you're interested in connecting with other natural builders, be sure to join our social media platform at naturalbuildings.org. Also, follow us on Instagram at Natural Buildings to stay up to date with our latest content and updates. In our next video, we'll be touring an incredible straw bale cob hybrid home known as La Casa de David in Wrightsville, Pennsylvania. So stay tuned for that one, and we'll see you next week.